Welcome to today's Explainer. We are going to dive straight into the fascinating biography of what is, without a doubt, the body's most overworked yet entirely underappreciated organ. We rarely give it a second thought, but this little guy basically dictates almost every daily experience we have.
So let me ask you a question. Which 4-inch muscle lives happily surrounded by 32 dangerous enemies? Well, it's your tongue. This incredible organ is just working tirelessly around the clock to help us eat, speak, and taste, all while surviving in a seriously hazardous neighborhood. All right, Section 1, meet your busiest organ. It really is a tiny powerhouse. 2 ounces. Think about that. That is literally all it weighs. And despite being only about 4 inches long, this mostly invisible hero is performing countless critical services for us every single day.
Moving on to Section 2, Digestion and Oral Hygiene. Let's look at its daily mechanical jobs.
You know that feeling when just a tiny, annoying little fiber of food gets stuck between your teeth? Your tongue becomes incredibly restless, doesn't it? It's basically the mouth's internal cleaning system, and it is constantly pushing food over to the teeth to be ground down finely enough for your stomach to actually handle.
Now, swallowing. It seems so simple, right? The front of the tongue presses food up against the palate, and the back pushes it down into the esophagus. But beneath that one single action is a highly complex web of nerves, muscles, and glands. In fact, it is so absolutely vital for our survival that nature actually teaches this reflex to babies while they are still in the womb. How amazing is that?
Section 3. The Acrobatics of Speech. This is where it acts as a highly skilled acrobat.
So while swallowing is this mastered instinct right at birth, speaking requires an immense learning curve. It takes a grueling 2 to 2.5 years of really hard labor just to articulate a single simple sentence. But once you get past that initial hurdle, the tongue's learning speed increases exponentially, and it masters these incredibly complex speech patterns.
Up, down, left, right, contracting, expanding, twisting. I highly encourage you to just go look in a mirror while speaking sometime today. You will literally witness the tongue's mind-boggling multi-angled acrobatics happening in real time. It's wild.
Okay, Section 4, Anatomy among 32 enemies. Welcome to a very hazardous neighborhood. Living happily among 32 dangerous enemies? I absolutely love this famous Urdu idiom because it perfectly captures the reality of the mouth. The tongue has to constantly remain alert and cautious, staying completely out of the territory of your teeth just to survive an entire lifetime without getting bitten.
So, anatomically speaking, what is it? The tongue is fundamentally just a piece of mucous membrane. It features this rough upper surface made up of small bumps. And those bumps, they aren't just there for texture. They actually provide the essential friction you need to grip food and successfully guide it down your throat.
And if you look underneath, you've got the frenulum, also known as the tuwa. It's that thin membrane connecting the lower part of the tongue to the floor of your mouth. The really crucial point here is that if this membrane is even slightly too short, human speech degrades into just a collection of meaningless sounds. Thankfully, though, modern surgery can easily and quickly fix this issue.
Section 5. Debunking the taste map. Let's talk sensory miracles.
Okay, remember in school when we were taught that the tongue had strict, specific zones? The tip for salt, the middle for sweet, the back for bitter, the sides for sour? Well, you can forget it. That is a complete myth. The new reality? Taste receptors are actually spread everywhere, even on your palate and in your throat. Science literally had to completely update its understanding of this compartmentalized taste idea.
To put this into perspective, think about seniors who wear dentures. They very often complain that they lose their taste for bitter coffee or sour lemons. And why is that? It's because the receptors for sour and bitter are heavily concentrated right up where the hard and soft palate meet. That is the exact part of the roof of the mouth that upper dentures block.
Which brings us to Section 6, Decoding Flavor in the Brain. It is the ultimate electrochemical partnership.
If you were to look under a microscope, taste buds are actually gorgeous. Those little bumps look exactly like tiny pink rosebuds. These receptors exist on both the top and the bottom of the tongue, and they identify countless flavors through complex chemical reactions. And like we just learned, those salt and sweet receptors don't just stop at the tongue, they stretch all the way up into the upper throat.
So here is how tasting actually works in real life. First, food must melt into a liquid. Think of eating ice cream. Until your saliva turns it into a liquid, it's practically tasteless. Once it is liquid, it triggers the taste cells to generate this faint electrochemical current. Then, these very delicate nerves carry that electrical signal straight to the brain for decoding. So really, your brain, not just your tongue, is the ultimate judge of flavor.
So I'll leave you with this. The next time you sit down and taste your absolute favorite food, will you thank your tongue? Will you thank the electrical signals in your brain? It really does make you appreciate all the hidden anatomical and neurological miracles happening during every single meal, doesn't it? Thank you so much for exploring this with me on today's Explainer, and stay curious.